Well, welcome to Shaun Spins. This is episode 23, and I'm your host, Shaun, and I hope everybody's safe and well out there. What's going on today?
Right. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody out there. And
Recognize that voice.
Yeah, we say all hang-ups, Kiss My Behind, 1969.
I definitely know that voice.
You want to try that? You want to try that other thing that Bernie desired? Thank you very much.
Here are a couple photographs with his mom and his dad. The song Angel was written for his mother. Known to be a great bass player, however, most likely the best guitar player in the world. Episode 23 of Shaun Spins is a band of Gypsys 2. Let's start the show. So for episode 23, we're going to be reviewing A Band of Gypsys 2. Now, A Band of Gypsys is Buddy Miles on drums, Billy Cox on bass. Buddy Miles also sings too. And James Marshall Hendrix, Jimi Hendrix, vocals and guitar, who I feel is probably the best guitar player in the world. We're going to go back a little bit to where the Band of Gypsys started to get us to A Band of Gypsys 2. Now, for me, A Band of Gypsys 2 is one of those albums I looked for forever. And I mean forever. Now, I'm not a person that goes on websites really to buy stuff. I'm more about trying to find it. And I believe I must have looked for this album for about 30 years. I mean, I full on have thirstinitis. It took me forever to find the Band of Gypsys 2. And once I did find it and hear it, it wasn't everything I thought it would be. Yet I was still glad to find it. Now, the original Band of Gypsys album is amazing. New Year's Eve, 1969 into 1970, recorded at the Fillmore. Multiple shows were played during those performances. So the Band of Gypsys, there's a lot of material out there. And I'm going to go through a lot of different releases I have for the Band of Gypsys, not just Band of Gypsys 2. Now, the Band of Gypsys is not the Jimi Hendrix Experience. During Woodstock, the band kind of gets bigger with Gypsy Sun and Rainbows. And it continues on. Now, the Band of Gypsys record comes from Jimi Hendrix fulfilling a contract that was done a long time ago. Friends coming together to help him out, saying, let's get a record out to fulfill this contract. So it's a different label. Now you might be saying, well, Shaun, did Jimi Hendrix play with a lot of different people? Oh yeah, a lot of different people jamming with. And here's an image right here. You might recognize the other guitar player here with Jimi Hendrix. So the Band of Gypsys has Buddy Miles on drums, who Jimi knew for some time. Buddy Miles also worked with Jimi Hendrix on Electric Ladyland, and they continue to work together for a time during this period of the Band of Gypsys. Eventually, Mitch Mitchell comes back in the band to play drums. Billy Cox stays with Jimi Hendrix a lot longer playing bass, replacing Noel Redding. Billy Cox knew Jimi Hendrix from the service. Let's go to some of these earlier photographs. There's Jimi Hendrix and Billy Cox, eventually being recruited in the Gypsy Sun and Rainbows and continuing on. Earlier on, I did a review of the Rainbow Bridge concert. There's Billy Cox on bass there also. Phenomenal show. Great band. Some of the best music ever recorded. Ever. I'm going to get into some of the releases of the Band of Gypsys and then get into A Band of Gypsys 2. Let's start with the original Band of Gypsys record. Let's start off with the original Band of Gypsys record. I think I own 4 copies of that, maybe 5. I know I have one at work, and I have either 3 or 4 copies here. It's that important of an album to me. It's an album when I was growing up, I would bring friends over to listen to it in my father's den where the record player was. We would sit on the floor and I'd go, you have to listen to this album. Now, growing up for me, the song that was real powerful was Machine Gun. And that is a very powerful song. Statement about what's going on here and what's going on with the war. And it's speaking out against the war. Amazing song. As I got older, the first song, Who Knows, means a lot to me too. And it just has this groove to it that is amazing. Side 2 goes into the Buddy Miles song, Changes. And then Hendrix does Message to Love and Power of Soul. When that starts off, it hits so hard when they hit that drum, it just goes. But Message to Love too, as I got older, in my older teenage years, it was so powerful to me lyrically. I am what I am, thanks God. Very powerful lyrics. It's an album to me that I feel as though that people becoming musicians should be given this album. Like, you want to know how to be a musician, you want to know how to be a guitar player, bass player, drummer, you want to know how to sing, write music. Here you go. Like, it's a how-to. Amazing little record. Now, as I said earlier, those concerts, there was multiple shows. I think they were doing 2 a night. So there's a lot more stuff that came out. Later on in my life, on CD, I got Hendrix live at the Fillmore, and that has way more tracks from those evenings. And an interesting thing about that CD set is it puts down what show and when it happened, like 1969 first show, 1969 second show, 1970, so on and so on. And why that was interesting to me is I always heard the story that Bill Graham from the Fillmore, after Hendrix's first performance, or maybe the first night, went up to him and kind of said something like, well, that's great, can you just play guitar though? Because I think the story goes that Hendrix went out there and put out all the stops, playing with his teeth, behind his back, over behind his neck with the guitar, doing all the tricks. And they said afterwards, Hendrix just went out there and just stood silently and played guitar. Kind of reminds me of like when Dave Gilmour plays guitar, Pink Floyd, just kind of stands there, and I'm kind of similar. There's not really a show when I'm playing guitar. Kind of reminds me a little bit with Nirvana too, that if you listen to a Nirvana live show, Kurt Cobain doesn't talk to the audience much. Chris does. Kurt just kind of does his thing. So there's a more serious tone I find with the 1970s shows, the second grouping of the shows. This is why I loved getting that CD later on. I think I got that around 1999. And then a couple years ago, I got this other CD called Machine Gun, and that is the 1969 show. And each time I keep getting these because it'll have more stuff on it. The Hendrix live at the Fillmore, not even called Band of Gypsys on that one, had Isabella on it, which is an amazing track to me. Just amazing. Machine Gun had Easy Rider on it, which is amazing. And I was so glad to hear that track. So I find as if I just keep getting these little CDs and things like that. Now I also have a DVD that was given to me by an ex-girlfriend years and years ago as a gift. And that's also really good too. And I kind of remember at the time it was kind of hard to find. So I was glad that she was able to find me a copy and gave it to me as a gift. And I still have it. Now, let's move on to the Band of Gypsys 2, which I searched for forever. Came out in the 80s. Now, let me take out my original copy here. These things always take up the whole screen. It's like my mouth. Hello? So this is the Band of Gypsys 2. It's got a real big price tag there that won't come off. And a giant cutout. Must have came from a radio station. Don't know. Here's the back of it. It's got one picture of the Band of Gypsys group. And some other pictures of just Jimi Hendrix. Now, one of the things you'll notice right away, which got me pretty upset. These are not all songs from the Fillmore concerts. So for the life of me, I do not know why this is called the Band of Gypsys 2. The only thing that has anything to do with the Band of Gypsy concerts are the first 3 tracks on side 1 or A. The opposite side are from different shows, Voodoo Child, Stone Free, and Easy Rider. Now, here's the interesting thing. This came out in the 80s. Now, those CDs I got came out much later. Those CDs have performances of those other 3 songs. So for the life of me, I do not know why the producer at the time didn't just dig deeper into the vault of what was there for the band The Gypsys and just use stuff from the band The Gypsys show. I felt a little upset thinking that it was going to be more band The Gypsy stuff, and at that time, there wasn't an internet that would tell me what's on the band The Gypsys too. I just knew it existed from pictures. I kind of knew something was going to be up with it, that the cover is pretty much the band The Gypsys, same cover, just zoomed in with a number 2 written over top of it, like superimposed. Yet I was pretty upset when I finally found it. It was something I looked for, like I said, 15, 20 years. I will say this also. The band The Gypsy stuff on side 1 doesn't sound as good as the other stuff. It's almost like whoever produced it and mixed it, kind of has a bootleg feel to it. Same thing with side 2. Some of it has this bootleg feel to it. One of the things of note with this release, since this is a release after Jimmy passed in the 70s and 80s, Alan Douglas worked on this, and Chip Branton. Chip Branton, when I saw that name again, it caught my attention right away. I said, I know that name. And I definitely knew Alan Douglas's name. Alan Douglas is a person I spoke to about once before that took over the rights of Jimi Hendrix and would replace people in the band with different drummers and things like that. Ridiculous. I was telling the story today. When I was growing up, if you wanted to buy the first 3 Jimi Hendrix Experience albums, Alan Douglas and them, they changed the covers. And I remember how disturbed I was by that too. Not just changing musicians in some releases, but changed the covers. One of the first things I did when the family got the rights back in 1995, when they released the first 3 albums again, I bought them immediately on CD to have the original covers. The only thing I still have left, other than Band of Gypsys 2 from Alan Douglas, I have Jimi Hendrix Blues and Voodoo Soup. In Voodoo Soup, I've heard too that there's a change in drummers. I believe the drummer from the Knack plays on that. I can imagine Jimi Hendrix would not be too excited if he learned that Buddy Miles or Mitch Mitchell was replaced by a random drummer. I think Jimi Hendrix would absolutely hate this release. Just listening to side 2 and how it doesn't go with side 1 and the production value. It does list here though, Mitch Mitchell drums on side 2. And they do kind of say that part of it is from this, and so they're not necessarily trying to make it out to be that it's all from the Band The Gypsys concert, but why call it the Band The Gypsys 2, like it's a continuation years later. It's got a little thing here too, from the producers. The first side of this recording is an extension of the first Band of Gypsys album from the Fillmore East New Year's Eve concerts of 1969 to 70. The second side covers 2 Gypsys concert. No, because Mitch Mitchell's in the band. So we're back to the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Berkeley Community Center, May 1970, and the Atlanta Pop Festival, July 1970. Listen to Jimmy's solos on this recording. No studio tricks, just Jimmy live. He never ceases to amaze you, the producer. Interesting thing, Easy Rider on the Band of Gypsys 2. I swear to you, now that they have the deluxe Rainbow Bridge live at Maui, I think it came from that. And on this it says it's from Berkeley. Sounds very similar. Here they have something from Jimi Hendrix. Jimmy explained his concept of the Band of Gypsys as followed. Buddy is more of a rock drummer. Mitch is more of a classic drummer, more of a funky R&B type drummer. It was always my plan to change the bass player. Billy was more of a solid style, which suits me. I'm not saying that anyone is better than the other, just that today I want more solid style. Musically, we try to keep it together. That's why we have to change. That's why personnel in groups changes all the time. Because they're constantly searching for that certain little thing. Calling it a Band of Gypsys means it could even expand on personnel or so forth and so on. It's just going to be laying down what we see today. How we see things today. It's nothing but electric blues and rock. It's all bottom, it's all rhythm. We're working on our voices. Buddy is getting our voices together where that will be another instrument. I haven't changed very much. My music is still pulsating, perhaps more varied. I either play very loud or very soft. Like I said, I looked forever for this. I'm still glad I have it, yet I prefer the original Band of Gypsys and the 2 CDs I mentioned. There's even more stuff that I don't have yet. And there is one thing from the Band of Gypsys I've been looking for. I'm going to say just as long as the Band of Gypsys 2. It's the variant cover with the puppets. I have been looking for that 30 plus years. Never have I seen it, ever. The Band of Gypsys is amazing. It's a combination of just so much music put together. You can't even describe it. Like if someone goes, well, is it hard rock? Is it metal? Is it funk? Is it R&B? It's everything put together with so much passion. Unbelievable. I've heard another rumor too. Jimi Hendrix supposedly had backup singers in the audience. And I don't know how true that is, but I heard it to go with the song Earth Blues, that there was backup singers because Jimi Hendrix supposedly wasn't too happy with Buddy Miles' backup singing on that track. Anyways, Band of Gypsys 2, not a favorite. If you collect Jimi Hendrix, Band of Gypsy stuff like I do, I would recommend getting it just for the collection. Yet if you're getting into Jimi Hendrix or the Band of Gypsys, start off with that first record, that first 6 songs, and then branch off. Maybe Hendrix Live at the Fillmore, because that's got a lot of tracks on it. It's even got him playing the song for New Year's Eve, which is amazing. One of the great things about all the CDs and all the stuff now is you get to hear Hendrix and a little bit of the band talking between songs, and Hendrix even talking about sometimes like they don't really know a lot of songs to play. Amazing, amazing music. That original Band of Gypsys, probably one of the best albums ever made. And for New Year's Eve coming up, I thought it would be a good record to review for episode 23 of Shaun Spins. Hope you enjoyed this episode. And until next time, hope everybody's safe and well and be nice to each other. Take care.
Fillmore is proud to welcome back some very old friends with a brand new name, Jimi Hendrix and a Band of Gypsys.
It's a good feeling just bringing on old friends. On bass, Billy Cox. On drums, Mr. Buddy Miles. On guitar and vocals, Mr. Jimi Hendrix.
I just do a song dedicated to the same old draggy thing that's going on, the soldiers of Vietnam and so forth. The thing called Isabella, the world for Isabella.